Jayo Sri Vrindavan, Sri Vrindavan, Sri Vrindavan, Jai Sri Vrindavan.
And to this day, we will all go there. It is called the Jiva Mandir, the Mandir of Govardhan's tongue. And anyone who circumambulates that Shila of Giriraja's tongue 7 times gets the full credit of doing the full Govardhan Parikrama. So in this way, what we see Radha Kund and Sham Kund today was more or less how Raghunath Das Goswami had renovated it. Just previous to the renovation of Sham Kund and Radha Kund, Rupa Goswami would come and perform his bhajan here. Just close to where we are now, there is a Imli Tal, and it is said that Rupa Goswami would sit and do his bhajan there. And Sanatan Goswami would perform his bhajan here at Radha Kund. It is explained that, this is in Bhakti Ratnakar, that just close to here, one time Sanatan Goswami was hearing the beautiful literatures that were written by Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami was reciting. And he gave one explanation of how Srimati Radharani's hair was very, very beautiful, like a black serpent. Sanatan Goswami told Rupa Goswami, with all respect, that's not the proper analogy for Radharani's hair, a black serpent. So Rupa Goswami said, okay, whatever you say. Can you give me a more precise analogy? And Sanatan Goswami said, I will think about it. So that day he came to this area. And he saw a very beautiful little girl. Some say she was on a swing. Some say she was in a pool of water. And there were many of her friends with her. According to Bhakti Ratnakar, actually she was in some water. And he was just looking at this charming, beautiful little girl. And then he saw that there was a big black snake right over her head, entangled in her hair. And Sanatan Goswami was shouting for the little girl to do something, to run away, he was crying, and he was running to chase to try to get that snake away from the girl. And just when he approached her, the girl turned around, smiled, and disappeared. Sanatan Goswami understood, and he went to Rupa Goswami and said, I think Radharani likes that description of yours very much. So keep it just like that, please. Jiva Goswami also had his bhajan kutir on the banks of Sri Radha and Sham Kund. And while Raghunath Das Goswami was living here, Janava Devi, the eternal consort of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, came to Vrindavan. This is a beautiful story. When Janava Devi arrived in Vrindavan, she was met by Jiva Goswami, Madhu Pandit, Lokanath Goswami, Bhugarbhas Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Rupa Goswami, and Sanatan Goswami had already left this world along with Kashishwar Pandit. But all those who had survived, they greeted her in Vrindavan at a Kruragat and brought her to the deities of the temple. Radha Damodar, Radha Govinda, Radha Raman, Radha Vinod, Radha Madan Mohan. But Janava was very, very deeply concerned with Raghunath Das Goswami. They told her that after Rupa and Sanatan Goswami had departed from the world, Raghunath Das Goswami could hardly even eat that little pat of buttermilk. He was just weeping 24 hours a day in separation from Radha Krishna, from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and now from Rupa and Sanatan Goswamis. So Janava Devi said, immediately I will go there. So she walked from Vrindavan along with Jiva Goswami and the others. And when they came to the outskirts of Radha Kund, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he came and ran as much as he could run and informed Raghunath Das Goswami, who was just like sitting down, just weeping and crying, informed him that Janava Devi has come. As soon as Raghunath Das Goswami heard that Janava Devi had come, he jumped up and ran to the outskirts of Radha Kund, where Janava Devi was standing. And Raghunath Das Goswami, our Prayojana Acharya, offered his full prostrate obeisances at the lotus feet of Janava and worshipped her with such pure, unalloyed love. Janava Devi was weeping to see Raghunath Das Goswami's ecstatic prema like no one else. The union of the meeting of Janava Devi and Raghunath Das Goswami is one of the greatest incidents in Vaishnava history on the banks of Sri Radha Kund. They spoke for so many hours together about the glories of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, and the glories of Sri Sri Radha Krishna's Leelas of Radha Kund. Janava Devi stayed for several days. You know what is so interesting? The Bhakti Ratnakar explains that Janava, when she came and saw Radha Kund and Sham Kund, the supreme holy places in all of creation, she was more intensely longing to see Raghunath Das Goswami. Because she wanted to serve this great Goswami by pacifying him and giving pleasure to his heart. The service to a Vaishnava was the priority of Janava Devi to sing Radha Kund and Sham Kund for the first time in her entire life of Leela. That is very instructive. There is nothing greater, more holy or sacred than serving the great Vaishnavas. She resided here for some days. One day, she was sitting under a tamal tree at the place where today is called Janava Baitak. She was sitting under this tamal tree, meditating on the beauty of Sri Radha Kund. Of course, we know Janava Devi is Ananga Manjari, and that's actually the place, the sitting place of Ananga Manjari that she was looking at within Radha Kund. One day, as she sat meditating on the mercy of the Lord, she heard a flute, beautiful sound of a flute, and she looked around, and there, the source of that beautiful music was Gopinath. Gopinath was standing in his threefold bending form, playing his flute, and alongside him was Srimati Radharani and her Sakis and Gopis, giving darshan to Sri Janava Devi. Seeing this most incredible of all sights, she fell conscious and never spoke a word of it to anyone for a long time. It is explained when Radhanath Swami was excavating Radha Kund, he found deities of Radha Krishna, who are the original deities of Radha Kund. They are called Puran Radha Krishna, and they still have a temple today. Yes, Maharaj? When he was renovating Radha Kund, he also created the Ratnavedi, which is the border between Sham Kund and Radha Kund. And Raghunath Das Goswami made little grooves underneath that border, which is like a bridge between Shama Kund and Radha Kund, where the two kunds could meet. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that when Radharani saw Krishna, she melted in ecstasy to form Radha Kund, and when Krishna saw Radharani, he melted in ecstasy to create Sham Kund. Radha Kund is Radharani's Prem Swarup. It is the form of her love. Sham Kund is Krishna, Radha Kund is Radha. And at the Ratnavedi, or the Sangam, they are eternally embracing one another. For 3 hours every day, minimum, Raghunath Das Goswami would speak the pastimes and teachings of Lord Chaitanya, as he was instructed by Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was attending his classes. He had an infallible memory, and he also was taking notes. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was such an exalted and pure-hearted devotee that the assembly of Vaishnavas requested him to actually put what he heard from Raghunath Das Goswami into a book form. Thus, on the banks of Sri Radha Kund, where Krishnadas Babaji or Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami had his bhajan kutir, he composed Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, which we understand to be the crest jewel of all holy scriptures. Bhagavad Gita is the essence of the Vedas. Where Bhagavad Gita leaves off, Srimad Bhagavatam begins. Bhagavad Gita ends, or it concludes with Sarvadharaman Parityaja, surrender to Krishna. How? Manmanabhava madbhakto madhyajim namaskuru mami vaishyashi shatyam te pratijani priyoshi. By always remembering Krishna with love. That is the culmination of the Gita. Srimad Bhagavatam begins from that point. Pure, unalloyed remembrance and loving service to Krishna. Unconditional, kicking out all Kaitava Dharma, cheating religions. No Karma Kanda, no Jnana Kanda, no Astanga Kanda. Only pure bhakti. Therefore it is the crest jewel, the cream of all Vedic literatures. But our acharyas describe that where the Bhagavatam leaves off, the culmination of the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna, that's where Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita begins. Krishna, tasting the sweetness of Radharani in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, comes to the world to distribute that love. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita was written by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Sometimes he had a bhajan kutir at Radha Damodar at Vrindavan, and sometimes here on the banks of Radha Kund. And today you will be visiting the Bhajan Kutir of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. And you will see the Bhajan Kutir of Raghunath Das Goswami. And you will see the Bhajan Kutir of Jiva Goswami. And the Bhajan Kutir of Srinivas Acharya. And the place of the sadhana of Sanatan Goswami and Rupa Goswami. You'll also see the Baitak of Madhavendra Puri. When he came with his spiritual vision, while he was doing the Govardhan Parikrama, he sat and rested and performed his bhajan here at Sri Radha Kund. Also, there's a temple called Gadadhar Chaitanya, where Ganga Mata Goswamini. Previously, her name was Sachi Devi. She was actually a queen, and she renounced everything to come to Vrindavan. And she became a disciple of Haridas Pandit. And Haridas Pandit wouldn't initiate her because she had all royal clothes and she was a queen. And he said, no, you have to just become a beggar. You have to give up your royal clothes and just become a beggar in Braj. Then you'll prove yourself. And she did it. And all the Brijabasis just had so much respect for her. She was so humble and she was so pure and so dedicated. So ultimately Haridas Pandit, she had an auntie, I think, named Lakshmi Priya, who was also his disciple. He assigned them to live on the banks of Radha Kund, where later she became known as Gangamata Goswamini. Her Bhajan Kutir is here at Radha Kund. Some years later, in 1670, the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb wanted to destroy the sanctity of Vrindavan. He sent military forces to destroy temples, destroy deities, and kill Vaishnavas. So many of those deities were very quickly brought out of Vrindavan and brought to be hidden at Radha Kund. And there were temples made for them here, small temples. They were kept here for some time, actually some years. And then they were brought to Kamyavan, and then many of them were brought to Jaipur or other places. So as we are doing the Parikrama of Radha Kund and Sham Kund, you will see the places where all these deities resided. The temple of Radha Govinda, the temple of Radha Madan Mohan, the temple of Radha Gopinath, and there's also a Pushpa Samadhi of Madhu Pandit there. The temple of Radha Sham Sundar, Radha Vinod, Radha Gokulananda. Radha Govinda is Rupa Goswami's deity, Madan Mohan is Sanatan Goswami's deity, Sham Sundar is Shamananda Goswami's deity, Radha Vinod is Lokanath Goswami's deity. There's a temple of Radha Madhava, Jayadev Goswami's deity, and Radha Gokulananda, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's deity. After they left here for further protection, Pratibhu Murtis, or replacement deities, are established, and they are giving their darshan even today. So this Mughal invasion to Vrindavan really terrorized this place. And the culture of Braj was really going underground. And in that state, a lot of corruption. And then the great Acharya, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, was born in Devgram in Bengal. He came here. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur made his residence at Radha Kund and also in Vrindavan. And he was so fearless and so learned and so deeply immersed in the highest rasas of spiritual love that through his literature and through his fearless preaching, he actually renovated Vrindavan. He reestablished the whole pure spiritual culture of Vrindavan. He practically single-handedly created a renaissance of spiritual bliss in Vrindavan. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's Bhajan Kutir is just beside Raghunath Das Goswami's Bhajan Kutir on the banks of Sri Radha Kund. There are many samadhis of great souls that we will see. Raghunath Das Goswami's samadhi is in the Radha Gopinath temple. There is the teen samadhi just close to that, where Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghunath Bhatt Goswami, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, all their samadhis is in one little temple together. And they all left this world on the same day in different years, on the Shukla Dwadasi. Thakur Bhakti Vinod and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur had created a Bhajan Kutir on the banks of Radha Kund. And their Pushpa Samadhis are also here. In fact, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in 1935 established on the banks of Radha Kund, just close by actually, the Sri Sri Radha Kunja Bihari Gaudiya Mat. And there is a Pushpa Samadhi for Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, created by his own disciple, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. And that beautiful temple is still there today. When Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was performing his Braj Mandala Parikrama, Srila Prabhupada came for some time. On one occasion, Srila Prabhupada came, actually, he met Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati at Koshi. And on another occasion, during the Parikrama, on another occasion, Prabhupada came to visit his Guru Maharaj at Sri Radha Kund. And we all know that very, very famous historical event that took place here. Prabhupada was then a Grihastha. He came with his eldest son, Mathura Mohan, who was just a small boy. And here on the banks of Radha Kund was that Milan, that meeting of Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, who was then Abhay Charanaravinda Das. They were walking along Radha Kund together. Only the two of them. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was revealing his heart to Srila Prabhupada. That in the Bagh Bazaar Gaudiya Mat, very beautiful place, one disciple of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati named Jagat Bandhu Prabhu, he was a businessman with some wealth. For the service of his guru, seeing that his guru was just living at this Ultadanga Junction Road, just a little rented place, which was so small and so inappropriate. There was just a little courtyard of a family home where they had the deity worship. He wanted a beautiful temple in a prominent place. So he took his entire life savings. And for years, he made practically all the expenditures to build a beautiful marble temple. By the time the temple was finished, Jagat Bandhu Prabhu had absolutely not even a paisa left in his name. He literally surrendered everything for his guru's service. And all he asked for was a little floor space in the temple for him to sleep, because he had to sell his home. To build that temple for his Gurudev, he had to sell his home, all of his property, his entire bank balance, everything. And plus he was overseeing the construction. Soon after that he left this world, but Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, for the rest of his preaching mission, would often refer to Jagatbandhu Prabhu as such a great, completely surrendered soul. What an example of a Grihasta. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur on the banks of Radha Kund told Srila Prabhupada that now the leaders of the Math are fighting over space and facilities in our temple in Calcutta. He said there is fire in the Math. There is quarrel. There is disharmony. This fire can ruin everything. He said, better we take off the marble and print and distribute books. And then he looked at Srila Prabhupada and said, if you ever get money, print and distribute books. And Vyabhashayatmaka buddhir eke hakurunandana buhushaka hyanantascha buddhayo vyabhashayanam. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur wrote a commentary to this verse from Bhagavad Gita, that one should take the order of the spiritual master as one's life and soul. And Prabhupada did that. And Prabhupada told us many times that was his only qualification, that he took the order of his spiritual master of his life and soul. On the first meeting in Calcutta, on Ultadonka Junction Road, the Gaudiya Math, but Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati told him that you should, in the English language, give the teachings of Lord Chaitanya to the world. And on the banks of Radha Kund, print and distribute books. Actually, Prabhupada had such immense faith and devotion to those two instructions that it gave him the power to do what no other acharya has ever done. Spread the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, his teachings, all over the world, and get Americans and Europeans and Russians and Africans and Australians and Indians all in the same place together on the banks of Radha Kund to loudly chant the holy name. Yes. When Srila Prabhupada was on Jaladuta, he was feeling such immense and intense separation from Vrindavan. But because it was the mission of his Gurudev, and because of his inconceivable, unlimited compassion, he pursued with such determination and love. And that is the qualification that has brought us all here today. I think it was in about 1972, Srila Prabhupada brought some of his devotees to Vrindavan. I think it was at the time of the Nectar of Devotion Katha that he was giving at Sri Radha Damodar temple. And the devotees came to Radha Kund. Her Grace Malati Prabhu explained this wonderful story to us at Uddhav Kund a few days ago during our Govardhan worship. that devotees were diving in and joking and splashing and swimming in Radha Kund and Sham Kund. And when Prabhupada heard about that, his heart was broken. Oh, his heart was so broken. Because he felt responsible. Whatever his disciples do is his responsibility. And he was so upset, very upset, that have you no etiquette? This is the most solemn, holy place in all of creation, and you are playing and joking and swimming and splashing and diving? What is this? And then he told his disciples, you bow down, you offer your prostrated obeisances, you pray for mercy, and you sprinkle 3 drops on your head. Don't even go in. Very strong. So if anyone wants to take bath in Radha Kund, it has to be in the proper consciousness. Because we have come to be purified. We have not come to make offenses. Today, by Prabhupada and the Acharya's mercy, we can take bath, but it should be according to how Prabhupada wants us to take bath. First we're going to do a parikrama. And then when it is time for the bath, there should be no speaking. There should be complete silence, only the chanting of the holy names, nothing else. Only chanting the holy names. And feeling ourselves absolutely unqualified, sinful. We should bow down with a grateful heart to Sri Radha Kund and Sham Kund, praying, begging for mercy. And then we should put 3 drops on our heads. And for those of you who want to enter Sri Radha Kund, Sham Kund, do it with great reverence. Don't try to imitate some spontaneous devotee. We are just sinful, unqualified wretches coming to very solemnly beg for mercy. We should be begging for mercy, begging for purity, begging to have a pure heart, a pure taste for the holy name, and a pure eagerness to serve the Vaishnavas. Begging Raghunath Das Goswami, Gurudev and the Vaishnavas, and ultimately begging for the mercy of Sri Radha and Sham Sundar. If you are able and willing to have this consciousness only, should we take our bath in Radha Kund? And we could do it. It should be sincere, solemn, and very, very deeply devotional. The only sounds from our mouths is the chanting of the holy names. And no swimming. Just do your humble, offer your oblations, bathe yourself, and then come out and bow down with grateful heart. Thank you very much. Jai Jai Sri Radha. Jai Jai Sri Radha. Jai Jai Sri Radha. As we're doing parikrama, This Parikrama of Radha Kund is a very, very sincere act of worship. Our offering should be the sincerity of our heart in the way we chant the holy names. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna with the luster and the bhav, mahabhav of Srimati Radharani. And he has taught us. Radharani, as Lord Chaitanya, has taught us the supreme way to please her and worship her. Trinadapi sunichena taror ivasihishna amani namanadena kirtaniya sadahari. In this humble and grateful state of consciousness, to very, very sincerely call out the holy name. At each place we go, we should be begging for compassion and offering the devotion of our hearts in our chanting of the holy name. And now we will hear from His Holiness Sachinandan Swami Maharaj, who is always swimming in the nectarine ocean of the holy names. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Radharani ki jai, Maharani ki jai. 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 Bolo vaashane wali ki jai jai jai. Bolo vaashane wali ki jai jai jai. Radharani ki jai, Maharani ki jai. Radharani ki jai, Maharani ki jai. Radhe 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 Jai 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 Shri Radhe. Radhe 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 Jai 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 Shri Radhe. Radharani ki jai, Maharani ki jai. Radharani ki jai, Maharani ki jai. Radha Gopinath Radha Gopinath Radhe. Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. I wish to really thank His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj for opening our eyes to the unseen beauty and glories to Sri Dham Radha Kund. Actually, if you enter such a holy place, you can only come there by entering the land of faith. With your material eyes, you cannot really see the transcendental glories of the aprakrit Dham, that is the not manifested Dham. However, by listening with an open heart, you can enter the land of Shraddha, and then in that land you will find the things which have been described. You will find in the land of Shraddha the Radha Kund. If you have no Shraddha, you will find a little or a lake which is visited by Indian pilgrimage tourism, and where pandas are waiting for their tourists or pilgrims. But if you come in the land of Shraddha, there you will find a beautiful transcendental lake of love, liquid love. Srimati Radharani, it's love for Krishna. So let us not do our pilgrimage as tourists perform their pilgrimages. By entering, tourists come and look at what the eyes can see. No, we should enter the land of faith. And this entrance is granted by hearing. And it is a very nice experience to listen today to His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. I was greatly benefited. Yesterday, we sat in the evening at the banks of Radha Kund. The noises and sounds were coming down, and we saw the beautiful Kund, and there was some light shimmering from the lamps and the dupas, which had been offered by pilgrims. It looked so beautiful. And I was sitting there, totally jet-lagged, with a mind not knowing if he is in Germany or India. I was looking at the Kund, and I was thinking, please let me see you. Please let me feel your presence. Now I'm jet-lagged, I'm topsy-turvy, too much vata. What can I perceive with these eyes? And this morning, when we heard so nicely about how Radha Kund appeared in the spiritual world, how Radha Kund appeared here in this world, when we heard about some of the history of the great Vaishnavas in relationship to Radha Kund, I felt such enthusiasm. And when Radhanath Maharaj made his point, which he will make in every second lecture, that Janavama came and wanted to do service to Raghunath Das Goswami more even than feasting with her eyes on Radha Kund and Syama Kund. I thought, how wonderful you have explained, and how befittingly you have explained. With this particular Leela, you have opened the door to the land of Shraddha, the land of faith, and you have allowed us a little glimpse into this. See, in perceptive, or in the psychology of perception, I'm sorry, but I just came from Germany, I'm not so transcendental. In the psychology of perception, there is some information that you may see something, but you may not recognize it. Isn't it? Sometimes you have this. You meet someone and he asks you, and you look at him and he asks you, do you know me? You look. And because you don't want to disappoint him, you say there is an idea of knowledge coming in my heart. And then he looks, don't you remember when we were together? And then he starts to talk. And then, after some little help, you begin to say, yes, Shyam Das, how are you? You look so old. In other words, this was something about the psychology of perception. You see someone, but you cannot really recognize or perceive him, because the knowledge is not there. Something is not there. It does not connect. So my dear devotees, this can happen also when you go to a holy place. You see but you don't see. You see but you don't perceive. You see but you don't recognize. Now the perception, as we understand in spiritual psychology, the perception takes place in the heart. When you see, and in the heart there is some response, oh yes, 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 I know, then you understand. So here in this wonderful holy Dham, we also have to learn to see through the heart. Don't just see through the eyes, because you may not see as you look with the eyes. You have to learn to look through the heart which is opened by the entrance of the beautiful queen. I hope the brahmacharis are still with me. The heart which is opened by the entrance of the beautiful queen of Shraddha. It is Shraddha Devi who, when she enters the heart, will open the heart so that you can actually perceive something as you are in the spiritual world or in the spiritual domain. Yesterday, when sitting before Radha Kund in this beautiful scenario, I was very much aware that I needed the entrance of Shraddha Devi in my heart so that I could perceive the holy Dham as it is, or that I could perceive Radha Kund as she is. Yes, Radha Kund is a she. She is Srimati Radharani. See, many of you have been several times at Radha Kund with this very nice Radha Gopinath Yatra. It is said that if one takes a bath in Radha Kund, then love of Krishna is entering the heart. Now many of you have entered Radha Kund and bathed. Do you have love of Krishna in your heart? Do you have the same love in your heart for Krishna as Radharani has? I think every humble Vaishnava will say, oh Maharaj, don't remind us of these sad subject matters. Say something inspiring, please. We are a little tired. We want to hear something nice. My dear devotees, this is an essential subject matter. Does our process work? This is the question. If it does not work, there's one of two reasons. Either the process is to be discarded, it is wrong, or something is wrong with us. My dear devotees, if you actually want to receive mercy, the mercy of Radha Kund, the mercy of a bath in Radha Kund, you have to actually bring the right container. If I would now say to you, Prabhus, I'm very thirsty, I know many would rush forward with a bottle of aqua water and say, here it is. Now I can't drink in the Indian way. It will go all over my head and my shirt, and I will look like having taken a bath in Radha Kund before, and only having taken a bath in aqua water. I need a cup, a proper container to hold the water. By the way, this is not a subtle indication that you should bring water. It is the philosophical point will soon come. In the same way, if you want to have kripa or mercy, you actually need to bring a cup. The proper container is necessary. The proper container to get the mercy of Krishna, the mercy of Radha Rani, is the same container which you have to bring if you want to enter the land of Shraddha. It's your heart. The only place where you can actually hold kripa is the heart. You can't put it in a metal cup, a glass of kripa. You can't put it in maybe I don't know, maybe your uttariya, your upper part of the shirt. The only place to really place mercy is the heart which has been opened by Shraddha. And now I will get a little complicated. If your heart has holes, all the mercy which goes in will go bzzzt, bzzzt, it will go out. The ordinary heart of the ordinary conditioned soul, like Sachidanand Swami, has many holes. Lust, anger, jealousy, so many things. I don't want to pollute the atmosphere here. As long as the holes are there in the heart, you're not holy, but you're holy. You're full of holes. Yeah. Stop being holy, become holy. I don't know how to pronounce it in English properly. We have to stop having a heart of holes. We have to start getting a heart which keeps the mercy of Krishna. And do you know what does the heart Reparatur, it's in German. What repairs the holy heart? I should say it more clearly. Do you know what repairs the heart which has holes, which is not holy? Do you know what takes care of such a heart? Shraddha? That's right. Faith, yes. Now, what is the repair which we have to do with our heart? Holy name is always correct. But yes, it is the holy name. Once Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur made it clear that you can see the Dham only when you bring the container of the heart. And he said it very clear. He said, Dham means Nam. Because it is through the Nam that the heart will be repaired, and only then in the repaired heart can Shraddha stay and Kripa enter. Once again, only in the heart which is repaired by the offenseless chanting can Shraddha stay and Kripa enter. And I want to say this again. Only in the heart which is prepared by offenseless chanting can Shraddha enter and stay, and Kripa can be captured. This is very important. As we are now going into Radha, around Sridham Radha Kund, we should try to make the heart repair by chanting with great enthusiasm and by chanting, by making a certain connection. My dear devotees, if we chant only with our, I would say, machinery which produces sound, the sound machinery. This is the tongue, the lips, and the lungs which get the air flowing. Then this is not sufficient. We have to actually connect this machinery, the sound machinery, with the heart. The heart which is full of an intense desire to serve. Do you know that to chant means to serve? It is not that we chant so that we are not so spaced out or that we feel well. To chant is actually a work where you serve Krishna and where you beg for further and more service by saying, my dear Lord, please engage me in your service. This is what I wanted to say. I want to now end because we have we are all burning to go into the waters of mercy, and we are burning to open our heart with Shraddha and make it, prepare it with the holy name, so that the mercy can stay. Isn't it wonderful, my dear devotees? We can actually do what Narada Muni is said to not do. Narada Muni wishes to come to Radha Kund, but he stays at Narada Kund. Narada Kund is a place almost opposite to Kushum Sarovar. So we can actually go there because somehow a street has been built, an extra special mercy street, which has been built for the Hare Krishna devotees. I really feel like that through the mercy of Srila Prabhupada we can go that mercy road and come here. I wanted to just request you to chant a very nice shloka which has been written by Raghunath Swami. It's a shloka to obtain the mercy of Srimati Radharani. It says, I worship Radha who has beautiful lotus eyes. I remember Radharani who has a very sweet smile on her lips. It's actually, when you think of Krishna or when you think of Radharani, you should think of their smiles. This is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes. A sweet smile. It will make you a little, it will dry out the misery from you. And then I speak of Radharani who is so full of mercy. In fact, that except for Srimati Radharani's mercy, there is no other goal. So please repeat this wonderful shloka, which hopefully will do good to all of us. Please repeat it in unison. I will say it in Sanskrit. Moment. Vajami Radha Aravinda Netra Smarami Radham Madhuram Smitasya Vadami Radha Karuna Bharadram Tato mamanyati Gatiya nakvapi Bhajami Radha Aravinda Netra Smarami Radham Madhuram Smitasya Vadami Radha Karuna Bharadram Tato mamanyati katirna kvapi bhajami Radha Aravinda netra smarami Radham Madhuram smitasya vadami Radha karuna baradram tato mamanyasti katirna kvapi. Please allow me now to summarize the points which I wanted to transfer into your perception. We cannot see without faith. And we cannot hold mercy without bringing a wholesome heart which has no holes. Now the heart of the conditioned soul can be repaired only by the chanting of the holy name. However, this chanting of the holy name will not work unless or as long as it is in the department of the lip service or the sound machine. We will have to bring our heart to the task of chanting with faith and with full concentration. Then our heart will be repaired more and more, and we will be able to conceive in our heart the mercy of Sri Guru and the mercy of Lord Krishna. Do you know that there are only 2 points necessary for advancement in Krishna consciousness? 2 points only. It is the mercy of Krishna and the attachment, the growing attachment for the devotees. By growing our attachment to the devotees, our Shraddha can grow so that we can chant properly. And then we can contain the mercy of Krishna. This statement about the 2 items necessary for advancement can be found in Chaitanya Chandrodaya Natakam, written by Sri Kavi Kanapura. Hare Krishna. So, I really want to say thank you for being kind and listening. And I want to thank my greatest thank you to His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, who somehow bathes me in affection, which is extremely necessary for me to give up my nonsense inclinations, which are numerous. And I don't dare to look at him because he always becomes a little angry at me when I say such things. So I will just purposefully look in this direction. I will have the shudders. Hare Krishna. So yes, please advise us what to do now.
In the divine spirit that His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj has revealed to us, begging, pleading for faith and honest, genuine devotion, begging to truly appreciate the position of the servant of the servant of the servant. We will, from our hearts, continuously chant the holy names as an offering of worship to Sri Sri Radha Shyam Sundar in their forms of Radha Kund and Shyam Kund. we will go to the various holy places. I really do not know how it's going to be done, but we're going to try. Very small lanes that hardly one person could fit through, and we have almost 2,000. So we're going to be going in a line, procession. There will be some devotees in the prominent holy places calling out what this place is. Many of them have been described in our insignificant lecture. We should bow down to Kundeshwar Mahadev, Lord Shiva, who is the protector of Radha Kund, Sham Kund. In our hearts we should beg permission from Guru Vaishnavas and Srila Prabhupada to perform this worship. And in each place, let us offer our love in the form of chanting Hare Krishna in our prayers for humility, faith, and real bhakti. Praying to Srimati Radharani for her mercy. And here at Sri Radha Kund, we know the story how that insignificant fallen jackal received the ultimate perfection. We should be in the mood of that jackal. Shiva Kaur is just close to Radha Kund. You remember the story. The jackal was being persecuted by little kids, stones thrown at it. Tried to hide in a hole, but then fire all around him, screaming out helplessly. But Radharani, here at Radha Kund, gives her mercy. Sent Gopi to rescue that jackal. And that Gopi brought the jackal to Radharani's lotus feet, and that jackal, with all humility, no prestige whatsoever, really Trinadapi Sunichena, just fell at Srimati Radharani's feet, weeping and crying, begging for mercy, helplessly. Srimati Radharani lovingly petted that jackal and gave her eternal service in the spiritual world. That is what Radha Kund is, a place where we are begging for mercy of Sri Radharani. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari. We cannot imitate great souls like Raghunath Das Goswami, but we can try to follow their footsteps. The footsteps is to be absorbed in Krishna's service. How was Raghunath Das Goswami absorbed in Krishna's service? We were describing, he was only eating one little palmful of buttermilk every day, and oftentimes he would forget it. He was so absorbed in his service, chanting the holy names, bowing down. 2,000 times a day he would bow down to Vaishnavas. This is Prayojana Acharya. It's not that Prayojana Acharya, I am Mahant, bow to me. No, he's bowing down. He is the Mahant of Radha Kund eternally. And he's bowing down to 2,000 Vaishnavas every day, 1,000 times to Radha Kund, Radha Sham Sundar. Chanting 1 to 2 lakhs every day of the holy names. And just drinking a little buttermilk. For years and years and years he was doing like this. And one time he was very sick. He had stomach disorder. So an Ayurvedic doctor came and took his pulse, made his diagnosis, and took his followers, to Raghunath Das Goswami's disciples, aside and said his problem is overeating. Particularly From what I feel, he has eaten a large quantity of milk and rice and sugar. The disciples were about to just throw this bogus quack out. What nonsense. He just takes a little buttermilk for years. He doesn't eat any milk or sugar or rice. So they went and told Radhanatha Swami. And he took the medicine for it, and it worked. And he started to laugh. And he actually revealed, as humble as he was, is while he was chanting the holy names and deeply, deeply meditating on the supreme Leela of Radha and Krishna, absorption. Now this is absorption. He was actually in his eternal form as a gopi in Vrindavan, Manjari. He was serving Radha and Krishna. And Radharani gave him the remnants. She took Krishna's remnants of kheer, sweet rice, paramana. And then she tasted Krishna's remnants, and then she gave her remnants to Radhanatha Swami. It was rice cooked in milk and sugar, and he ate everything she gave. And therefore he was feeling, on the physical platform, he was having indigestion. That is absorption. How do we follow in the footsteps? By trying to be honest and humble and absorb ourselves. Absorb ourselves in hearing Harikatha. Absorb ourselves in whatever service we're doing it with enthusiasm and with sincerity to please the Vaishnavas. And absorbing ourselves in our prayers. And especially, as Maharaj has taught us, absorbing ourselves in really trying to take shelter of the holy names, like that jackal being burnt by material existence, helplessly, hopelessly begging for the shelter of Srimati Radharani's causeless mercy, as we chant Hare Krishna. And if we can even one time bathe in Radha Kund with this type of faith, Rupa Goswami tells us that Krishna will give us love like that of Srimati Radharani. Where else in the world? Prabhupada's great mercy. So in this spirit, we will go to the holy places of Sri Radha Kund and worship Raghunath Das Goswami, Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur, Jiva Goswami, Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, Madhavendra Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where he discovered Radha Kund. We will see the wonderful deities of the original Goswamis. And then we will offer, when we bathe, it's not really just bathing. What bathing really means is offering your body, your mind, your words, and your life as an offering of sacrifice to Sri Radharani and Krishna. That is the spirit that we should bathe in Sri Radha Kund and Sham Kund. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Ram, Ram Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Ram, Ram Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare,